Good afternoon, everyone. I am Bratislav Tošković from Parviainen Architects from Finland, and I would also like to introduce Mauro Nottegaard from Sweco Structures. Our project is very much a fruitful combination of architectural and engineering skills. We will tell you a story about how electricity can be made visible, about one uninhabited building providing electricity for 800,000 residents, about creating an iconic architectural entity on a highly visible location. And basically, we think it's all about placemaking. The architectonic concept derives its inspiration from electricity and its visual manifestation, light. And all this taking place within a context where two essential elements of infrastructure, energy and traffic, intersect. Transforming this contextual vibrancy into a visually attractive and memorable entity was one of our main goals in this project. If we speak of electricity in Finland, then we speak of Fingrid, who is the main transmission system operator of Finland. Electricity is transmitted from Fingrid's main grid through the Länsisalmi power station to 800,000 residents of Vantaa and Helsinki. Our location is on a corner of one highway and one beltway, number 3. A closer look shows how challenging and how very exposed a location we have. It can be seen from many different angles, and this made it challenging and inspiring as well. This is the initial situation at the site before anything began. So there was an old outdoor substation. There was a transformer bunker, old portal, and a control room building. Our task was to renovate the old transformer bunker, to design an identical one next to it, to design a gas-insulated switchgear building, and the new landscape portal. These are all very new terms probably to most of you, so I will explain them separately and shortly. What is a bunker? It is a concrete structure, rectangular in plan, with a transformer inside it and with no roof structure above it. One of the walls of the bunker is designed to be removable for maintenance purposes. And this is where it all started. The first moment when I stepped inside the bunker, the devices, the forms of devices inside it, they started fascinating me and inspiring me. And this feeling kept going on through the whole project. The devices themselves, they do not strive for any aesthetic beauty, but nevertheless, they are unintentionally beautiful. And somehow, I kept this in my mind throughout the project. Also, this first moment when I stepped inside brought to my memory almost forgotten childhood memory. When I was a small boy, I found it very exciting to peek behind the beautiful facade of the old vacuum tube radio of my grandparents. It was very exciting. I discovered there a fascinating world of different sized and different parts with glass and metal and different colored wires connecting them. To my opinion, there prevailed a perfect balance and order, and it made me feel good. So this was kind of inspiration, the first touch with the electric station for me, and it was crucial importance for the project. Then we have the outdoor substations. The tendency in Finland, probably elsewhere in the world, is to abandon these kind of stations and to replace them with the gas-insulated switchgear. And this is a very highly sophisticated device, and it needs shelter as well. That's where we come into the picture. So we designed a building for this device. It is hierarchically, the spaces in the building are basically divided into two. There are these huge spaces like the cable room and the switchgear room above it. And there are the service spaces which are on the edge of the building. So everything is very functional and made to serve the proper functioning of the devices inside. But also a lot of attention was given to the outlook of the building and how it fits into the whole environment. Also, this is what I felt from looking at the radio of my grandparents, this order and balance. I think it's reflected also into the way the facades were treated. Then we have the portals. The portal is, what is a portal? It is a metal structure with a function to connect the high voltage trunk lines with the station itself. It's like a gateway for the electricity to come. There are ordinary portals, and there is hundreds of them around Finland. They're scattered all over the place. Sometimes we don't even notice that they are there. Sometimes they really bother us. But then there are portals like we have designed, which are located on a special place, and then they have a tendency of becoming a landmark. So they require more attention. Numerous 3D models were created during the designing process of the initial stages of the designing process of this project, and their purpose was, of course, to ensure the smooth flow of ideas and also to make the decision-making easier for the decision makers. Later on, these models became the basis for the building information modeling, which was an essential part of the whole process of this project. And now we will talk about structure.
Yes, I will briefly describe the structure of the landscape portal, which is made by two arches which are touching at the summit of the structure, and then we have a horizontal truss structure. Then this structure is 57 meter wide, it is 47 meter high, and it weighs approximately 100 tons. These arches are made of Corten steel, and the truss is hot dip galvanized steel. Our software used a stacker structure, and we've integrated the model into the building information model. And here are some of our analysis that we have done. This structure is particularly unbalanced because all the loads are coming from the conductors. So we had to make really detailed checks about it. And these are some numerical analysis of the connections. We made a separate analysis for each of them. And this is an example of how BIM, building information modeling, has assisted us also on site when we had some part which did not fit at first, and we had to laser scan, build it inside our, yes. And so finally we managed to correct the part in that way. And here are just some pictures during the installation, during fabrication.
So building information modeling was really essentially important. All the designing parties involved in the project were feeding the virtual model, which we coordinated. And this kept on going on until the end of the project. The main materials are Corten steel, glass planes, glass panels, cast concrete, and graphic concrete. Glass also because of the glazed insulators, which are extensively used in the electric distribution industry. Now just a few photos for the end. So as peeking behind the radio of my grandparents opened to me a fascinating world, in the same way we might be inspired by peeking behind the glamorous areas of the cities into the suburban areas, which are abandoned with cases like this, waiting to be integrated into the townscape of the expanding cities. Just to mention that our project was awarded 2018 Architecture Award winner of the Vantaa city.
It's good to hear you already have some prizes won. And to know, of course, that Finland is a very dark country. Like the lights go out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Okay, 3.
Too early anyway.
Too early anyway, okay. So you were, if I might kick off, you were able to redesign some essential parts of the elements of which these
Yes.
objects are made. How did that came about? So why were you allowed to do that, to show the radio, to show the inside of the radio?
I kept the radio story for myself until now.
Oh.
But I would say that we were lucky enough also to have a very wise investor who understood the spirit of this location and that it really needs something to be done. Also, we did a really fantastic collaboration with the city officials, town planners. The interesting thing is that this area doesn't have a master plan. So it was so that we kind of went to the town planners and told them, we had an idea of making a landmark, what do you think, you know, and so on, and then got interested in it, and we then together developed this whole thing.
One of the things I find very interesting is that programmatically it sits somewhere between an industrial installation, it's got a sculptural quality, it's also got a kind of monumental, memorial type of quality. How would you describe the project to yourself? And I didn't see any people. Does anyone actually work here?
No, this is actually the interesting thing about this building is that there's no one inside and it serves 800,000 people,
Yeah.
but it is seen by thousands of people every day who drive by. So there are like two flows. There's a flow of traffic and the flow of electric energy, and they kind of overlap in this place. This gives the spirit to this place.
So what would you call it architecturally?
The building?
Yeah.
I see it as a kind of icon of the area.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's what I would call a very interesting dialectical approach to the relation between building and industry or the generation of power. That is something which it's an issue which pertains very strongly to our time and which has been left behind. Well, it started 200 years ago, but it's grown very slowly. And I think it's one of the very first times where I think that very bravely two components, which one is the buildings on the floor and the other one is the big archway, and then they really dialogue. And I think it makes it a beautiful approach. I congratulate you.
I agree. I think it's very difficult to squeeze out of the potential of industrial type of buildings, and I think you have done a great job.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
We also like to say, it's kind of half a joke, that we have created a building which transmits more energy than it uses.
Well, again, great famous last words, I say. Apart from you saying it was unintentionally beautiful, which was not something many architects say nowadays. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Thank you.